Hey, we back. I'm here on Karuta once again, and today we're talking about Koibitos. This is something that we've talked about before, generally with Koibitos services, what you can do and how you get them, stuff like that. But today I'm going into a bit of a more in-depth, detailed Koibito collecting kind of perspective for people that want to get Koibitos consistently, regularly, keep them, etc, etc. This is not particularly useful, but it's kind of nice. Personally, I collect Koibitos. I think it's great. Other people also do. There are plenty of people out there that have whole collections of Koibitos because they think it's cool. Now, firstly, you aren't going to be able to collect Koibitos of popular characters because the Koibito changes too often. And of course, the more wanted a character is, the more often it changes, the less likely you're going to be able to collect it. So you're going to be looking at wishlist values, trying to go for characters that don't have very many wishlists. If they have actually 0, you can probably get them for free, and you'll see this a lot. We can check on the Karuta hub. We have the Koibito activity channel, and if you have a flick through here, you will see a lot of, 33% odd percentage chance, and even lower for people just taking the most popular characters. But you will also periodically see 100% chance of people taking a character, and that'll be people taking characters that hadn't been seen in so long. Even new characters getting their first Koibito, they haven't been contested at all, so they have a really high chance of success even with these low affection ratings. And that's kind of what you're going for there, because if no one else is touching the Koibito, you can keep it and you can leave it there. You could quite easily, this person might have taken this Koibito and then just stopped at that affection rating. Who needs more? It's not going to be taken from me anyway. And depending on the popularity of the characters that you want to collect, depends on the affection rating you'll have to go for. Personally, let's take a look at my affection list. I go for quite high affection ratings. I've got a lot of 198s up here. It's about as high as you can reasonably get. I've got to 199 before, but it's really unnecessary. I normally try and go for 195 because you have to, assert your dominance a little bit. If you just leave it on 160, someone will take it way too easily with the kind of characters that I go for. I don't know if you know any of these characters, but you might. Have a look at the anime list. Look, we've got Sword Art Online here. That's a popular show. Someone might want to take that from me. It's not entirely unheard of stuff, and so I go for higher affection ratings. Now, why does all of this matter? Mostly, it matters because of the propose button. I mean, of course, but when you click on this button, you get your percentage chance, and the way that this is calculated is based off two things. Firstly, what your affection rating is compared with other people on the leaderboard. You can see my affection rating is higher than the current Koibito here, so this makes the percentage go up. It also matters how long they have had it. I don't need to increase my affection rating at all. This number will go up over time as no one contests this Koibito. And this is really useful because there's an 80% chance I get this Koibito, but if I'm going for Koibitos consistently all the time to collect them, then 80% chance kind of isn't good enough. 1 in every 5 times that I try and get a Koibito, I'm going to fail. And what this means is I lose my ring. It then takes me ages. You have a 10% chance of getting a ring in a date. And of course, dates have a 10-hour cooldown. So it's going to take me like a week to get that ring back again, at least. And in the meantime, this percentage chance would have hit 100% very easily. It's just that because I didn't have a ring, I couldn't abuse that. So it's always better to wait to see that 100% chance to go for these things if you can. Now, how quickly does this change? That's another question. If you are up here at like 195 AR, something like that, it's actually going to take a couple of weeks, if not longer, for someone of even equal AR to you to have a reasonable chance of getting a Koibito. So you'll see a lot of these characters change hands maybe once a month or something like that, because it's just unreasonable to go for it before then. The grace period, as it is too heavy because you have a lot of AR. If you're down here with your 120, maybe 160 AR, then the grace period will go really quickly, again, in comparison with someone up here. So if someone comes along and takes one of my Koibitos, but they've only got 160 AR, I can probably take it back in a couple of days with a 100% chance, because my AR would be so much higher than this. This isn't a great example of this because, of course, we're two both very close together Koibito people here. But let's go for someone else, shall we? Let's try Sue. Let's try visiting Sue. I've got my visit off cooldown at the moment. So we go to Sue. What percentage chance have we got on Sue? It's about the same percentage chance as the Ranma. But see, look, the other person's AR in comparison with mine is much lower. So let's flick down to the Karuta hub and see how long it's been on these characters. They both have the same percentage chance, but the gap on Sue's AR is much bigger than the gap on Ranma's. So Ranma's, it is currently the 15th of September, and this was on the 8th. So it's been about a week, whereas Sue... here it is. It's been 3 days. It's been less than half as long, but the percentage chance to take is almost exactly the same. In fact, Sue's percentage chance to take was actually higher than Ranma's, despite the fact that it's been a whole week with Ranma and it's only been 3 days with Sue. This is pretty major because, like I say, it means that Sue, if someone takes them off me down here, I can get it back really quickly afterwards. I don't have to put too much effort in. Whereas when someone all the way up here takes this Ranma off me, I have to put a bit of effort in. This is because Ranma is a more contested Koibito than Sue. So that's affection rating and grace periods and all that stuff. There's a couple of other things I wanted to talk about with regards to that, and that's Koibito fighting. If we have a look at this person, for example, we can check out their affection list. And we can see who they've been visiting. They have 12 people here. They are Koibito of 2 of them. We know they took Sue about 3 days ago, and they probably took this guy around similar time. But we can tell they aren't some super dedicated Koibito collector because they don't have that many of them. And it's quite likely that if I steal this Sue back off them, they'll probably give up. They have a spare ring at the moment, so they might give it another shot, maybe even 2 shots, who knows? But the chances are they'll probably give up. And I know this because it's the first time they've taken Sue off me. I've had the Sue Koibito for a long time, and they've just recently arrived and decided to take it. And they've probably decided to take it because they assumed it was uncontested. But I am a dedicated Koibito collector. We have a look at my affection list, and there's loads of Koibitos. So I'm going to fight this guy on the Sue Koibito. He's taking it off me. I'm going to take it back. And then after a little bit of back and forth, whoever gives up first, gives up, and then the other person gets to keep it. The more dedicated Koibito collector will likely get to keep the Sue Koibito, and that's most likely to be me. However, this isn't always true. If we have another look at my affection list, down here at the bottom we have Leafa. Leafa I don't have nearly as much AR on the others, and that is not because I haven't visited her as much. I've visited Leafa a lot. It's because she's more contested. She's actually got a similar wishlist, to be fair, but look, there's people visiting her quite often. The Koibito actually changes quite regularly. I've been trying to get the Leafa Koibito for a couple of months now, probably longer than that even, and I keep getting pushed off it very regularly. It's a lot of effort to go to keep visiting Leafa, only to have someone else take it away. I'm thinking I will probably give up on this Leafa Koibito at some point soon, because while I have been visiting Leafa very consistently for a long time and getting that Koibito, I'm clearly not going to be able to keep it. And each individual person will have their own limit of when they decide to give up on something. I've certainly not given up on Sue, because this guy's only taken it once, and I'm probably going to get it back and then keep it. But I have kind of given up on Leafer because I've been going for this one for months. The more dedicated you are, the more likely you are to be able to keep it. Because, of course, if I give up on this Sue now, maybe this guy who currently has it at the top, maybe he will get to keep the Leafer Koibito indefinitely because I've given up. Maybe other people have also given up. To be fair, looks like other people have not given up because they've been dating, which is why I'm probably going to give up. I reckon this is going to be a contested leaderboard for a good while. But that's the kind of thing you have to look at. Now, on my server recently, someone mentioned Great Sage as a character. This is clearly a very uncontested leaderboard. We've got someone up here with very high AR, which is quite impressive, but he's not got a spare ring, and no one else is going for this at all. I like the character Great Sage. They're from Tensuro, which is one of my favourite animes, and I was thinking, well, I'll go and take that Koibito from them then. It'll be a fine addition to the collection. But we can have a look at this person's affection list. Firstly, they've got it private. Don't worry, we can still have a look at it. This is how it works. But they have it private, which is notable because people that private affection lists obviously care about their affection lists. We can still go and have a look at it though. We go and look in the Koibito channel because it turns out privating affection lists isn't actually possible because the Koibito channel exists, which is kind of a shame. But look, we're going to search for that person's ID in the Koibito channel. We didn't search in the Koibito channel, we searched in general, but still, there we go, Koibito channel. We see quite a lot of results. There's 108 results. They clearly take a lot of Koibitos. And you notice a pattern? If you have seen Tensuro, you'll know that all of these characters are Tensuro characters. This person clearly collects Tensuro Koibitos. We can see the same person go past multiple times. There's this Great Sage we were looking for. Someone took it from them here back in June, and they took it back the next day. This is what I mean about the grace period. Because their AR is so high, 198, and the person who took it was so low, 109, they got that grace period back only one day later. They had that 100% chance. So this is the advantage of getting the high AR. And yet, this person is only one person. The leaderboard is currently not contested. And they're clearly doing the same thing that I'm doing, where they push people off and get the high AR and then have their 100% chance back the next day. That's the strategy. But if I start contesting Great Sage and other Tensuro characters, what we're going to have is two people who know what they're doing with regards to Koibito fighting over the same character. This isn't going to work out for either of us. We're both going to get really high AR. And what'll then happen is you'll have that month-long grace period that I was talking about earlier, where you've got your 195 odd AR, and it takes weeks or even a month for it to hit the 100% chance of getting the Koibito back again. So then we're just both sad. We're swapping it between each other every month, and in the meantime we're having to visit the character all the time to keep the Koibito. It's not efficient for either of us. It's best if I just leave it alone. Now, if I really wanted the Great Sage Koibito, I could start fighting this guy on it and hope that he gives up. But the fact that he's got 108 results in the Koibito activity channel and all these other Tensuro characters implies to me that he's probably more dedicated to these Koibitos than I am, and he's just going to keep fighting me on them forever. In which case it's not efficient for me to go for them. This is another thing you should consider when getting into Koibito collecting, because you have to look beforehand if the character that you're going to collect is collected already, basically. Does somebody that knows what they're doing already have it and already fight people on it? Because if that's the case, don't bother. You're just going to be wasting your time. Go for characters that haven't already been collected someone. Unless it's like your favourite character. Like I say, I could totally fight this guy off Great Sage. Maybe he'd give up. Who knows? But the chances are low, so I would not recommend it. You have to look at more than just the leaderboard when you're trying to collect a Koibito. Of course, if all you want from your Koibitos is just to use their Koibito services once or twice and then leave them, go for it. Because what'll happen is you fight this guy on Great Sage, you'll get Koibito, you'll probably have an 100% chance because it's been months since it was taken. You can spend your AP and then, next day he'll take it back and no harm done. Right, you managed to use the Koibito services, but if you want to collect the character in your Koibito collection, your affection list, then you're going to have to pick something else, basically, that's actually uncontested. So there you go. That's basically what I wanted to talk about there. There's probably a lot of waffle. It wasn't very organised. There's probably other things that I could say on the topic, because Koibitos is a more in-depth thing than it needs to be when you start collecting them. But I just kind of wanted to explain a few things about it and give some pointers, and if there's anyone out there that has been thinking about going for collecting Koibitos, maybe you'll now know what you're looking for. Anyway, I'll be ending this video here. Bye!